Well, hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? Well, the first thing that I saw when I got up today and drinking my first cup of coffee was, and by the way, get a cup of coffee, have one with me. Because I want to talk about the federal war on Americans. America as an idea, and Americans as those of us who are Americans. So the first thing that I saw, by the way, this is brought to you by The Reversion. If you haven't read it, you should. It's the book after which this channel is named, and it's about starting over after things have collapsed. And if we're not in a collapse, I don't know what we're in. We're fighting it, and we'll see what happens. So the first thing that I saw as I was checking the news, drinking my first cup of coffee, was a news item about the Border Patrol unlocking a gate down at the border that the Texas National Guard had locked. Now, I want to start this first off. I have high regard for the Border Patrol and the guys in it. Now, I don't know anything about their leadership. Who knows? I mean, if their leadership is like other law enforcement leadership, it's entirely different than the guys on the front line, but I have no idea. Any of you guys on down there, let us know in the comments. I'd be interested to know that. And as some of you know, on the other channel, I've gotten some patches that were sent to me by the Border Patrol guys and Customs and Border Protection down there. So I have high regard for those guys. So I'm sure this wasn't their doing, but the story was, and it's showing, a bunch of folks coming over from Mexico, coming over, and not that these are bad people. There's bad people among them, but not as a group that they are. They're just trying to, people trying to better their lives and get up here, the land of the golden goose, and get some of the golden eggs, right? So what had happened was the Texas National Guard had locked a gate on private property, is what the news said. Now, we can only go by what the news says, but it had the news crews down there, and they were taking their film, and apparently the Texas, at Governor Abbott's direction, the Texas National Guard had locked this gate. And the Border Patrol came, and so the people came across the border. They came across the river, on the rope, and got up to this gate, and it was locked. Now it didn't even have to be. It wasn't one of these multi-million-dollar, walls. It was a section of chain link fence about 8 feet tall. So the people got up there, and they couldn't get through it, and stopped. So all these people were on the other side of this chain link fence, and Border Patrol shows up, and they have a key, and they unlock it and let all of them in. Now this was on private property, is what the news said. I can't swear to that. I don't know how the Border Patrol would have the right to come onto somebody else's private property and unlock a gate that was locked on that private property. I'd say that's big problems in and of itself, but I can't swear to that. We don't know that. The main thing is that Texas had locked the gate, and the feds opened it and let all these people in our country. Now, to those people who will never see this, but just a way of me making my stance clear, those people who came across there, please go back and come in the right way. I don't mind you coming in here if you come in for the right reason. If you come in and want to be an American citizen, going to come in and work hard like almost everybody that I know that came from Mexico, go back and come in the right way so that you're here and part of the country. Got nothing against you. I have something against the government that allows this to happen. This made me think then about the story that I put up, and then probably a lot of you have seen it. I put it up. It's where did it come from? It came from Rumble, I think. And you can probably find it at other places, but I put the video up on the Patreon channel. both this channel, American Reversion, and Integrative Preparedness. And if you want to know how to get over there, and if you'd like to support this channel, and we appreciate that, that's a great way to do it. Come over and be a patron of ours on the Patreon channel. The link is down there, and you can get in the door for $1 a month, and gives you. I put a whole lot of stuff over there that I don't put on YouTube. So the story was, and it showed a whole bunch of little people, some really strange looking folks, some marginal looking people, dressed up in outfits that said police, IRS, CID, and this follows on the heels of this news that the IRS is hiring 87,000 new agents who, as a part of their advertisement, must be willing to use deadly force in the performance of their duties. I'm taking you back to that war in just a second, to that war that so many misguidedly called the Civil War, so stick with me on this. So they want 87,000 new IRS agents who are willing to kill people to collect their taxes. And so this showed ostensibly a training scenario. We used to call it, what did we call it? I don't remember what we called it. at the end of the academy, situational training, to where you go out and you handle, set up situations. Every group does this, as if it were real, and then they critique you and see how well you did, and blah blah blah. So they show all these little misfits walking down the hallway, coming to a door. It's obviously a hotel or some places. They're coming into a big meeting room, and then they knock on the door, and then there's a couple of apparent tax fraudsters in there just standing around, and they all come in, about 15 of them, and they come in with their guns. Hands up, don't move, blah blah blah. IRS, you're under arrest for conspiracy for something or other. You talk about a couple of things came to mind, but I don't want to insult the people to whom I would compare this bunch, because there is no. This was the saddest looking thing you'd ever seen in your life. But the idea that they would give people guns and train them to do this. Now, a couple of our patrons over there. It's another reason you should be on Patreon with us. We have some really smart people over there with a lot of experience. So one of them came on and said this was a training exercise from 2017, and that happens a lot. You'll find videos up on YouTube and Rumble and every place else that is not exactly or on the news, that is not exactly what is portrayed to be. So. So maybe, I have no reason to doubt what our patrons said. So let's just assume that it was a training, or what he said. This was it was a group of accounting students, at some college or someplace, that they let go through this course with the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, and as I got to, and some people say, oh well, okay, well that's even worse. That is even worse. And the reason that it's worse is because if that's true, like I say, I have no reason to doubt our patron. I don't know any better than he does, and it sounds like he knows more than I do. If that's true, then that means that 5 years ago they were trying to recruit and pump this stuff up among accounting students at universities. So that means this has been in the works for a long time. Plus, they're trying to get these young people all ginned up, so when they get out of college, they have starting to normalize firearms in tax collection and deadly force in tax collection. How does that make you feel? When you think about it like that, how does it make you feel? Let me take this back to the war that, as I say, so many misguided people refer to as the Civil War. the vast majority of American citizens are ignorant regarding that conflict. And I don't mean that they're stupid, I mean that they don't know. Okay, I use the word ignorant a lot, but I use it in its proper context, meaning not having the information, not being aware of the information. That's just in case any troll coming by that didn't see the cap well enough can see it better. So what that war was the federal government had constructed an economic model that harmed the southern states. It was about slavery, Steve. Shut up and sit down. It was not. It was a pretext. And go study about 3 years before you come back and try to argue with me. So, they had created an economic environment that was destroying the South. The South said, we don't want this anymore. We joined this union voluntarily, and we're leaving voluntarily. Goodbye. Which was their absolute right to do, no matter what Antonin Scalia says. You would argue with the great Antonin Scalia? Yes, I would, because all of his reasoning was not top-notch. And I talk about that, not in this book. I talk about it in one of my books. I just tear Scalia's position on secession apart. And if you read it, you'll agree with me. You'll see. Alan Dershowitz would agree with me. So what happened was they said, bye-bye, we're leaving. And Lincoln said he sent a notice around to all of the states demanding that they send troops from their militias, from their state militias. He says, I want 70,000 troops to go down and kick those Southerners' asses and whip them into shape and make sure that they don't leave the Union. And since the U.S. government didn't have a standing army that big, and the army is not supposed to operate internally in normal times. I know somebody's going to say, but there's this one clause. Yes, I am aware of all the clauses. And some of the governors, and most people don't know this, many of the governors sent him notes back saying, screw you. We're not sending troops, some of our people, to go attack other Americans. We in Kentucky are not going to send troops to attack Virginians. We in Missouri are not going to send troops to attack Tennesseans. Okay? Simple as that. But anyway, he was successful, and he got enough from northern states to go down there and just ravage the South, just destroyed the South. The South has still not recovered from that invasion and decimation and slaughter that the federal government perpetrated on the southern states and on the people of them. Keeping that in mind, you see the parallel. They are wanting to build an army to go after the people who are resenting the economic bondage they are trying to thrust upon us even more. Well, I know it's already on us. Even more. They want to tighten the noose, and they want their own little army. The federal government is declaring war on the American people. Tell me how I'm wrong. Folks, share this video. Like it, subscribe, put your comments down below. It keeps coming, and it keeps coming faster. And I would suggest you prepare for it. And if you want to know how to prepare for it, that's available Down there, you can find out how to get it if you haven't read it. You need to. Okay, that's it for today. Remember, America needs a reversion, because if it doesn't get a reversion, it's going to get something else. And whichever it has, it needs you to be a part of it. Okay. Y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.